Hi everyone, today's video is going to be about the top 6, it was going to be 5 things, but I added one more, so the top 6 things that have helped my son. If you're new to my channel, Dexter is my 3-year-old son. He is autistic, he is currently non-verbal, but he is super intelligent, super amazing. If you're interested in learning more about him, check out some of my other videos, and hopefully that'll give you a bit of an insight into who he is and where we are with his progress at the moment. Dexter has made some really good progress over the past, I would say, 18 months. And a question I get asked a lot is, what has helped him? Now I think a lot of people, when they ask that question, are expecting me to say things like, oh, you know, we did this play therapy, or speech therapy has really helped him. Controversial opinion alert. I think far too much emphasis is put on therapy. I'm not saying therapy doesn't help if it's the right type of therapy. It does serve a purpose and it can help some children progress really well. However, therapy is a moneymaker in some countries, a huge moneymaker in some countries, America. And not only that, but you as a parent are the one that is around your child all of the time. You know your child the best. Don't underestimate your role in helping them progress, because you, in my opinion, are more important than any therapist out there. I also wanted to really quickly address something that somebody said to me on a comment. And the comment was, I'm paraphrasing, but something along the lines of, Dexter has made fantastic progress. I'm worried my son isn't going to make that progress. He doesn't seem to be going down the same developmental pathway. What am I doing wrong? Firstly, you're not doing anything wrong. Your child is on their own developmental pathway, which will be a different developmental pathway to Dexter, to a typical child, to the next autistic child. Secondly, when I post videos of Dexter's updates, I want, in the interest of honesty, I want to be very clear when I tell you that these are his highlights. These are the best bits. And quite a lot of the time in day-to-day life, interacting with Dexter doesn't quite look like that. He does spend a lot of the time perfectly happy in his own little bubble, and that's fine. But I just wanted to make people aware that what you see when I talk about interaction and communication progress isn't reflective of an entire day with Dexter. So let me talk about some very practical things that you can do at home, whether you're on the waiting list for therapy, whether you're not receiving therapy, whether you're already receiving therapy. You can still do these things and they shouldn't in any way interfere with any other programs that your child is in. Number 1, following his play. When you're trying to engage with a child, any child, it's natural to go, oh hey Dexter, come here, come and play with this, see what I've got, it's so interesting. With autistic children, who quite often are very own agenda led and have very strong focus on what they want to do, that isn't going to work. Instead of trying to pull them into your world, go into theirs. And there's a very easy way you can do this in toddlers and young children, and that is literally getting down to their level and following what they are doing. Do they have special interests? If so, that is a great way in. My son absolutely loves alphabet, numbers, can't get enough of them. Instead of restricting those and preventing it from becoming an obsession, get down with them and use it to get into their world. If they like ordering things, lining things up in particular orders, don't try and redirect them if it's not causing anyone any harm. Get down and do it with them. Initially when we started doing this, Dexter didn't really respond. But over time, as he got older and his awareness got greater, he started to notice the things I was commenting on. He is really into trains. He started to love it if I made a noise when they crashed or splashed into water. Suddenly, one day, he was on his own playing, he made a train crash, and he looked at me, he actively sought me out, got my attention, and made a noise and a sign to say, look mummy, I'm making a train crash. This follows quite nicely onto the second thing that has really helped Dexter progress, and that is using their interests to expand them into other things and other learning ideas and opportunities for interaction. We had a solid year of everything was Thomas the Tank Engine. I made everything Thomas because that's what he wanted. Through his love of Thomas the Tank Engine, we got him doing puzzles, Thomas the Tank Engine puzzles. We got him learning quantity through numbers on the trains. We taught him about personal hygiene skills using Thomas the Tank Engine. We brushed Thomas's teeth and put Thomas to bed. We just really used it to help teach him wider skills and wider concepts that he otherwise really wouldn't have been interested in. And it worked a treat. I say it worked a treat, but it was still very much trial and error. It would depend on his mood, it would depend on how he was feeling. That's fine. All these factors you have to take into consideration. Keep trying. If something doesn't work, try something else. Don't be despondent. There's a million things you can try, and we're on no time limit here. You've got all the time in the world. Number 3 is one that we do use in Dexter's speech therapy, but this doesn't have to be connected to any particular system or program or means of communicating. So number 3 is to use visuals wherever possible. Most children on the autistic spectrum are visual learners. They respond to things that they see. So how might this look in real life? Well, if we are going somewhere, we can simply show Dexter a picture of where we are going. Maybe he understood what I said, but I definitely know he understood the picture. If you're given 2 choices, instead of verbally giving the choices, show the choices or show pictures of the choices. Visual timeline to show what we're doing now, what we do after that, what we do after that. Some children who are autistic really thrive on visually being able to see what is expected of them and what comes next. I always try and think of it as I can speak some French, but it's really rusty and it takes a lot of energy on my part to interpret what is being said. I always try and think of that as if my son is learning verbal language as if it's a foreign language and its primary language is visual. If I think of it like that, it really helps me reduce the demands, instructions and explanations I put on him verbally. Number 4, this is really important. Create your own parenting rule book. There's a lot of pressure on us parents. Whoever you're parenting, a typical child, a neurodivergent child, it doesn't matter. There's so much pressure to do this by this point and to raise your child in this way and don't give them this, give them that. There's so many opportunities for other parents to judge you. But like I said before, your child is on their own developmental pathway and you simply cannot put them on the same timeline as a child who is developing typically. It won't work and it will cause a lot of stress for both of you. So create your own rule book and most importantly, allow yourself to feel okay about it. Let me give you some examples of things that we do that we maybe wouldn't do if Dexter was typically developing. We still rely on the buggy, the stroller a lot. Dexter can get quite unsure and anxious in big outdoor spaces that he's unfamiliar with. I like to have the buggy there because otherwise I'm going to have to carry him because there's no way he'll walk, he just will not walk. We give him what he asks for immediately. There's no, oh just wait 5 minutes, oh I'm just doing this and then I'll do that. Dexter never used to communicate in any way at all. So if he points to something, or if he verbalizes, babbles, makes a word approximation, or gets his communication device and asks me for something on that, damn right, I'm going to give it to him straight away because it's taken a lot of effort to get to that point and I'm not going to be made to feel like I'm catering to his every demand and being a pushover. I'm encouraging a very valuable skill for him that doesn't come naturally. We also still rely on a dummy or pacifier if you're from other parts of the world. We don't use it particularly often, but when Dexter gets upset, again an explanation won't calm him down like a typical child, and for the sake of giving him a dummy for 30 seconds, that's exactly what I'm going to do. And the judgmental parent that walks past me on the street and sees a child that's too old for a dummy, can get to. So maybe comment below, is there an accommodation you make? Do you do something with your child that you don't do with like a typical sibling? Let's share these accommodations we make and remove the shame that comes with them. Number 5, engage in physical activity wherever you can. Physical activity is great for everybody. For autistic children, they can have more anxiety or, you know, just a lot more to process, more to deal with. Physical activity releases all of those feel-good hormones that make us all feel brilliant. And I have found that if we engage Dexter in physical activity, he is often more likely to engage with us. I think physical games often engage autistic children a lot easier than like let's sit at a table and do this craft kind of activity. And finally, number 6, in my opinion, the most important one. Make smiles and laughter the goal of your day. A happy, smiling child who is appreciating and loving experiencing the world in their own unique way, to me, is far more valuable than a child who is achieving all their milestones and doing what they've been taught to do, but is miserable, anxious, and has no emotional connection with the people who are teaching him these skills. There we go, my thoughts for the day. Do you have any other suggestions? Let me know. And I really love reading the comments and hearing about everybody's stories. The response to this channel has just, I could cry. I love you all. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you soon.